We've just witnessed the biggest week in Bitcoin's history, over $188,000. Now that alone is not anything to be excited about, could have been to the downside. The thing to get excited about today are the closing prices on the daily chart here, and more importantly, on the weekly chart. Now this doesn't just go for Bitcoin. There are several altcoins which are doing relatively well, the traditional markets, which is something we focus very heavily on here. We're not just about the altcoins and the degenerate side of finance. We're looking at the traditional markets, Bitcoin, the real estate cycle. And of course, we'll tack in some altcoins in today's video. Now we've got some major signals which could be playing out today that I'll get into in just a moment. But if you have found value from the channel, our no BS approach to trading technical analysis and understanding macro cycles, do us a favor and hit the like button and share the content with a friend if you haven't already subscribed to the channel. So the topic of today's video, of course, is Bitcoin pumping 21.7% out of the low. Now this low came in almost to the dollar on the GAN 50% level. If you aren't using these in your own trading right now, I suggest you learn how to do so. GAN 50%, you can use your FIB extensions or retracement tools, but they have produced very solid return, or very solid turning points. Of course, there are some returns if you are trading those features as well, those signals. But they have produced the same thing that happened back in August, and I posted about this on X. So if you're not following me on X, why not? Link is in the video description. Let's have a look at this right here. You can see from the September 2023 low to the March 24 top. So basically a 6-month move. There we had that low come almost dead into that 50% level of that move. Nice big pump up, 100%, repeat. And then the market's gone sideways. Now, what's happened from this point is we had our 3-day down rule. Basically our 3-bar rule, because it works on multiple time frames and multiple charts, different assets. So it's fantastic to learn the signals to then apply them across different markets. Now, of course, I'm getting excited here, but we just need to stick to the TA. There are some good times, and we need to also factor in some of the things that could go wrong, of course. But let's just stick to the good stuff at the beginning of the video. The 3-bar down told us that things were going to go either sideways or down, essentially was telling us that it was not going to go up in a big fashion. Yes, there was a false break here on the Trump inauguration, and then from that point, we basically seeing the market collapse now leading into this low. Some other key signals to get to this bounce before Trump, of course, puts out this very massive post in the last 24 hours. This is Bitcoin and Ethereum going to be added to their reserve. But first of all, he posted or tweeted about on social, what is these Truth Social, something that most of us aren't subscribed to. The U.S. crypto reserve will elevate this critical industry after years of corrupt attacks with the Biden, which is why executive orders ADA XRP Sol, and now they're going to make crypto great again. So that's what's happened in that last 8 hours. But prior to that 8 hours, we saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bars down. Now, this is another very important signal that we talk about with members, and we obviously mention it on YouTube videos as well, but if you can track this in real time, it can help you put the pieces together in order to get some good entries in the market, which of course, hopefully you're able to, and I did at this low. Now, I'm not going to bang on about that because it sucks. It's in the past. So whatever. Let's have a look at where we are from now, and if we can get this next signal in real time, just like we talked about the in real time signals from the top. Now the next one, we saw the 3-bar rule. This was 3 days down. Maybe we'll get a 3 days up from this low. Now this is, I'm putting it down as a significant low. This could be the reset that we've been waiting for. We have 1 bar up, we have 2 bars up, and that's on a Sunday, Saturday, and Sunday, which are typically very low volume days. And Sunday has been a great day there early into day, Monday, which potentially is that day 3. But we need to see Monday cross across this top, which is 95,200, is that we saw a bounce off the 50% level. So the major 50%, we've talked about that. That is a very strong move. like we've seen in the past, and we've looked at multiple examples of how this has played out time and time again in the markets, showing up for these lows. So I want to take you to the next particular signal, and that is an extension of the double top. This is the double top. So this is another trading signal that we use is to help us, in real time, determine where the market might go. So there's obviously probabilities here. And when you see the signal, there is a high probability that is going to extend out to 150%. So there you can see this here, 1.58 thousand, and that is this move right here. It failed at 50%, broke down from 50%, and kept moving to the downside, got to the 100, and then collapsed into the 150%, which was another fantastic area because it lined up with the major 50% of the retracement. Now, if you're new, it can get a little bit confusing because you're talking about this 50% and that 50%. But stick with us here because we're looking at two different things. We're looking at the extensions and then also the retracements. So that's looking at this entire move, and then how far does it retrace? So that is now three different signals there. 50% bounce, the 150% extension. So basically the market getting overextended, think of it as like your RS. If you sort of understand that a little bit, then you can see that the market got overextended here and needed to bounce. We got the bounce. So there's the two there, the third one there is the weekly close. And we can just chuck this onto a weekly chart. Very, very strong close here on significant volume. The two closing prices that we were concerned with was the low, so the swing low of the trading range. And that was at for number 89,000. And the next price was above this diagonal trend. So this was one that Michael's been watching on his channel. If you don't subscribe, already go through and do that. It is in the video description right here now. That particular level came at roughly 925 to 93,000. And crazy enough, the week did close above that level. So we got multiple signs here that this has a high chance. Of course, there are no guarantees in the market, but there is a high chance that this is likely the low that is in, and if it is the low that is in, we might start to get a little bit of FOMO here from people who have missed out on this particular low, and they start to chase their tails on the way up. More on that in just a moment. When I look at the longer-term cycles for BTC on the monthly chart here, moving into a right-translated cycle. The extensions to the upside with price targets, time targets, and all that sort of thing, but before we get too carried away, there I want to have a look at the DT dominance plus the USDC dominance. This was also a fantastic close for the bulls. So the crypto Bitcoin bulls, as you can see here, throughout the week, it had been testing the 50% level closing above it, bit of volume coming in. And then that daily bar on Friday that dropped was a potential case that we were going to see USD, basically stable coins. We got the two here, the two biggest USDT, USDC. So we're going to see stable coins drop in dominance, meaning it was possible we're going to see that stable coin money come out into Bitcoin and crypto. And of course, like many will do, they'll say, oh, it was Trump. Okay. The thing that I come back to with that is if you can build a trading plan off knowing when these people are going to be tweeting about it, great, all the power to you in my years of experience. I've never seen that work out very well for anyone in the long term, maybe the odd post here and there, but in the long term I haven't seen it work. So therefore, I come back to the TA and have a look at some of the signs that were leading into a change in trend before these sorts of tweets come out. And so if you start to see the momentum beginning to shift, these sort of tweets just amplify the move that is about to happen, and without the tweets, the move might take a little bit longer. But I think we're going to get to that end point eventually, kind of like just adding fuel to the fire, right? It's going to get there anyway, but these things just add fuel to the fire. So with the stable coin breaking down underneath the 50% and a nice close underneath them, previous top here, there is now better probabilities that this is going to continue down and the double bottom will fail. So if the double bottom fails, we're still a little way off. It needs to get back down to about 5%, 4.8%. If that fails, then this is going to send the market ballistic. That's an if, okay? It still needs to get back down. Still got to test this level here at 5.85. And then, of course, back to the lows. The USDT dominance is the chart that we've been following a lot of here. And this is what it could lead to if this double bottom also fails. You can see the movement here up to the top, right on the weekly chart. That's where it would be. And it hit the 50%, hit the 200%, basically hit a lot of resistance levels here, significant resistance levels off the double bottom, and then also the major move. So you got the downtrend here, and that was the 50% through the middle, so it was unable to close above that. And it did fall short of the worst-case scenario here for the Bitcoin bulls Bitcoin bulls of breaking out of the diagonal downtrend. So we're back under the 50%, back underneath those swing tops at 4.65%. And if this is also going to fail and the double bottom here eventually comes down and takes out those lows, I think this is going to ensue next an F-off massive bull mania, because that's essentially the stable coins flying out of stable coins and into something else, primarily Bitcoin and maybe some of those stronger altcoins. Now here is where the serious-ish part happens for a cautious bullish scenario. And it's what happened in 2021. We had a breakout to the upside. So it's this pattern that we've been following for months, since about October, November on the channel, watching how this low came in and how it broke out to the upside. So yes, I'm bullish. I think Bitcoin still got further upside to go. Some other altcoins will check, probably still have further upside to go as well. Some significant moves. Maybe you're all going to get rich. Okay, all that sort of bullishness on the side, but to keep it real, because that's what the markets are about. There's no, if you want that hopium hype, you got plenty of other channels out there that will send you broke trying to get that hype. So let's just keep it real here. This is what happened through May 2021 into the next Bitcoin all-time high, and some altcoins also hit new all-time highs around September to December of 2021. The dominance began to collapse. It put in a higher low, which you don't know at the time, but it was essentially signaling that the bulls were weakening. Therefore, all of the hype that came in late in the game was about to get wrecked. So this could be months away. But it's something to keep watching, in case you see this sort of play out. Maybe it comes up, starts to continue down, and then put in maybe a false break or a higher low somewhere around this 3.6 to 3.8 level, again, maybe even 380, 3.9%, and work its way higher. That is going to be a major warning signal so that you don't, me included, you don't get held up in a position when some of the signs are saying, looks like some of this money is trickling out of Bitcoin and cryptos again, and over into stable coins, late in the cycle. So watch this chart here. In case we start to see something that happens like 2021, that was a bit of an early warning sign there. And here is the macro for BTC, the big cycle here. We are in a right translated cycle. I've still heard some comments saying that we're in a left by all counts here. It's already a right. We got into a right translated cycle in November, confirmed it in December, and we're well and truly into a right translated cycle. Okay, I don't know where this left BS comes from, but we're in the right side. Therefore, we can measure the lows to the lows. And we're looking at something around second half of 2026 for another low. Does not mean that it has to play out exactly like previous cycles, with 3 years up 1 year. Down a previous cycle, again, 3 years up 1 year down. This could be 2 and 1.5 years up, 1.5 years down, and then it could be 6 months up in the new cycle, and then 3.5 years down. So that's in the cycle, following this one here. That's a little bit of a way off. So let's just focus on where we are now. And the final stage is lining up with the final stage for the traditional markets as well, obviously the S&P 500. The real estate cycle, things are continuing to pick up and increase in value over the longer term. Obviously, this might have another 1 to 2 years to go, and the volatility has definitely I can't see it dropping off here yet, but the volatility has gone absolutely bananas. You can see it in people's emotions, with the sort of things that they will reply to in comment sections, or the way they, interact with their portfolios and their money. The volatility in emotions is there, and it's showing up in the charts as well. So that is a symptom of this final stage. Make no mistakes. I don't think this is a full reset of the game because Trump is in, it's all part of the same thing.